Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter for boxing-related tweets. Or you can subscribe to the channel and click that notifications button and get a notification whenever a new video is uploaded. I'm going to talk about Deontay Wilder, but first, there's only one place to start, and that is the idiocy of Jamal Charlo. I'm not holding back on this. He's a clown. This guy is a clown. So let's get to the point. Of all the ways I've heard of ducking a dude in my life, this one takes the biscuit. This is the worst excuse to duck someone I've ever heard in my life. He will not fight David Benavidez unless David Benavidez agrees to get the jab. I'm not even joking. This is what he came out and said. Is this going to be the new normal now? Pun intended. The new normal way of ducking someone, yeah? Take on an experimental jab where the makers admit, by the way, that they don't know what effect it will have on you in 5 years from now. They admit it. I'll put the articles in the description box here. Okay, one of them from Reuters, for instance. I'm not going to say the full name of the company, but one of the makers. Because again, I don't want to trigger any algorithms. But here is the quote from Reuters, an established, internationally renowned news agency. We as a company simply cannot take the risk if in 4 years the jab is showing side effects. Rudd Dobber, a member of Astra's senior executive team, told Reuters. They're telling you straight up. The other one, the other making company, beginning with a PF, again, I'll let you go check it out. I'm not going to trigger any algorithms. I'll also post the article here in this description box. In the independent newspaper in the UK, it reads, this company is given protection from legal action by the UK government. This company's UK boss refuses to explain why the business needs protection from legal action. Do you understand what that means? It means that whatever happens to you, they're not liable. It's experimental. If something happens, tough. Now, again, I understand the vast majority of people, when I've hinted at my position on this, seem to agree with me. There have been 2 or 3 that have been very vocal and not agreeing with me. That's cool. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. I'm also entitled to my bodily autonomy. And if you try to take that away from me, you are in direct contravention of the Nuremberg Code. I suggest you go and check out what the Nuremberg Code is. Go read point 1 in particular and find out why it was brought about at the Nuremberg trials. Bear this in mind. Read the entire Nuremberg Code. So when you're sitting there trying to pressure people into taking some sort of treatment or medication or test that they don't want to take, you are in direct contravention of this. Go check it out. Now, just to put things into perspective for you, and this I'm moving away a little bit, I'm going to digress a little bit, and I'm only telling you this because I care about you. I care about all of you. I sit here, interact with you guys, we talk boxing, we have a laugh. What, and then I'm not going to care what happens to you guys? Of course I do. So I'm just going to put it straight out there and tell you. David Davis, Conservative MP, higher ranking MP, put out a shocking tweet the other day. And I'm going to read it to you. The death rate in Andalusia, southern Spain, almost halved following the introduction of their vitamin D policy. Tragically, here in the UK, our death rate more than doubled over the same period, despite us having 5 times the amount of jabs. How long have I been telling you guys, get that vitamin D in you? Especially you guys that, everyone, this applies to everyone, but especially if you have dark skin, if you're black, if you're Asian. Because what happens is you need longer in the sun because of the darker skin, the more pigmentation you have in your skin, the longer you need in the sun to absorb the same levels of vitamin D. But everyone in the UK pretty much is deficient in vitamin D. Very high levels, very high percentages. I've read as high as 70, 80%, and I've read as low as 50%. But it's still significant, right? Because the vast majority of people are not working out in the sunlight all day. This was done, by the way, these estimates were done pre-lockdown, when everybody's sitting in their houses and they're not out and about. So now this situation would have got drastically worse. So this isn't some sort of conspiracy theory. David Davis is telling you this, and he's put up a tweet. I'll also drop that tweet in the description box where he shows the trajectory of what's happening between these 2 areas. In Andalusia, you see it rising, and it shows you the point they introduced their vitamin D policy. It then drops drastically. In the UK, it shows the point of when they introduced the jab, and you'll see how it starts to curve over and then shoots up drastically. Now, a lot of people are saying, look, by the way, this is repeated in Ireland. I'll also put a tweet that shows that table. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, it might, causation might not be the case here, just because correlation doesn't necessarily equate correlation doesn't necessarily equate to causation. Just because they happen to rise together at the same time doesn't necessarily mean one's causing the other. Okay, but it also doesn't mean that it's not. We don't know. It's an experimental jab. That's the whole point. This is a reality. This is a fact. Now, if you want to go and take that risk, that's on you, man. But don't try and put it on me and try and affect my lifestyle or my ability to travel or move around and my ability to work, because that's what you want to do and you want to take those risks. 0.05% mortality rate in the under 70s. In the UK, 66 million people. I told this the other day. I told you this the other day. In the under 60s, 377 people have died when they have been healthy. Holistically, the entire country, it's 1,119. No, sorry, 1,191. Under 2,000 people who are healthy, of any age, up to the age of 100, have died in a nation of 66 million people, when at least 6 million people have had it. So if this jab doesn't stop you transmitting it, which they're admitting, but they believe that maybe they're saying it lowers your susceptibility to getting seriously ill, well, then you don't have to force me to take it, right? So what is Jamal Charlo playing at? Is this what we're going to start doing now in boxing? If you don't take it, you don't have a right to fight for a title? Now, I've read rumours that Benavidez is willing to take it as a result. Apparently, he told this to Max Kellerman. All right, if you want to be stupid enough to go and do that, cool, that's on you. And you know what? I shouldn't have said that, actually. I'll take that back. I'm not going to sit here calling people stupid that want to go and take it. That's all right. You do what you want to do. But if this is going to be a trend where Charlo or Benavidez or any other champion starts to say, I'm not fighting this guy unless they get a jab, listen, the whole boxing world needs to talk up, because this is another ridiculous method of a duck. It's a joke. It's pathetic. Move it. And to be honest with you, any champion that starts this stuff, I'm always out here trying to be neutral in the way I bring my analysis and stuff like that. Of course, I've got my favourites in boxing, okay? I'm a boxing fan. But even then, I'll always be honest and I'll pick against guys that I sometimes want to win. Don't confuse my prediction with who I want to win. But I'm telling you straight up, any champion that starts on this, I don't care who he is, I don't care how long I've supported him in the past, I'm off that bandwagon. I'm rooting against him. I hope he gets stopped and loses his title. Simple. Because this is a ridiculous method of taking boxing by the sport hostage. It's a joke. Anyway, moving on from that, let's talk about Deontay Wilder. Now, with regards to Deontay Wilder, there is talk of him, according to Chin Check Boxing, which is the only account that I've seen talk about this. Now, they do have over 10,000 followers, so I'm not trying to undermine them as a channel or anything, but it is the only source I've seen this. I've also seen it on some message boards, but I think they're quoting from here. So, maybe they're just getting news in early and quickly, or maybe they've got their wires crossed, they've had some bad information. I don't know. I guess time will tell and we'll find out. But they've claimed that the Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder, Charles Martin fight is officially off, because Deontay Wilder is demanding an 8-figure sum. Now, if Deontay Wilder's demanding that amount of money, he's essentially pricing himself out of the fight. And you have to ask yourself, why on earth would he do this? What is he thinking? Now, I retweeted it and I said, if this is true, Wilder has lost his mind. Now, a bunch of fans favorited it, as you'd expect. A lot of people liked it. But one that stood out to me was Anthony Fowler, the professional boxer. He liked it. And the reason that stands out to me as a comment, as a like, is because you expect fans to look at it from the perspective of boxing. Like, why would he not want to fight Charles Martin? But often you hear people say, whether it's promoters or fighters, you don't understand the business of it. Well, this is a professional fighter that's also clearly not understanding why this would be happening if it's happening. A guy that's privy to the way the politics of the sport work, the finances of the sport work. It would be madness for him to do that. Let's talk about it. Charles Martin is the IBF #1 ranked fighter in the world. So he's the mandatory for Anthony Joshua's IBF. It would put him in a terrific position to get the winner of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Now, the Fury fight could be, if he comes out on top, will be sort of portrayed as unfinished business. You've got a huge portion of the Wilder fan base that seemed to think a lot of cheating was going on. He had egg weights in his gloves and all sorts of other madness. But it will generate interest among his fan base in the US. The trash talk will get people interested again. If AJ wins, there's an old beef there. That fight never happened. It should have happened. And one thing you have to say about Anthony Joshua, he's a brilliant fighter, of course, wonderful fighter. He's not as elusive as Tyson Fury, though. And Deontay Wilder will fancy his chances of finding a home for that right hand. I've always felt, even prior to the Fury fight, that the Fury-Wilder fight, that AJ gets the better of Deontay Wilder. But I always said, let me rephrase. I always said he's better than Deontay Wilder. However, he doesn't necessarily get the better of him. To beat Deontay Wilder, he would have to come out of the first 4 rounds, in my opinion. Now, the reason is because I believe AJ would fight the way Fury did fight. Walk him down, get him onto the back foot. It's something I've always felt. However, let's not forget, Deontay Wilder did land 3 flush right hands against Fury in that second fight. I say flush, they landed significantly, but Fury had that ability to just take half a step, just roll slightly with a shot, turn his head, just take a little bit off it. One caught him high on the head, one sort of caught him on the cheek. If Deontay Wilder lands that on the chin against any man, or even the temple, they're in serious trouble. Now, Anthony Joshua is a little bit more square on than Fury. Anthony Joshua doesn't move away as quickly. If they land flush on Anthony Joshua, or any human being, they're in serious trouble. So you know it's a great fight. You know it's a fight you want to watch, AJ Wilder. So against a winnable opponent like Charles Martin, why would Wilder not want to put himself in that position? Seems mad to me. He should be jumping at the chance. So initially, the way I interpreted it was to think, listen, this is just ego. This is nothing more than ego. This is a guy that thinks he's worth more than he's actually worth. Despite the defeat, he doesn't want to talk about the fact that, you know what, you're not worth $10 million right now to fight Charles Martin. That's just a reality. But at what's really good with one L in the really, or the actual name, so that's the actual Twitter handle, the actual name is What's Really Grant. He messaged me and he disagreed with me and he put in some really insightful comments, something to think about. So I'm going to relay them to you and you guys can think about them too and let me know what you think. So when I said he lost his mind, he said he's turned down $100 million on a 3-fight deal with DAZN to fight Ortiz again and Brazil and Fury again. So rematches against Ortiz and Fury and Brazil, on which he apparently made less than $60 million. So crazy? No. Poorly advised, or dare I say stupid? Yes. The only realistic 8-fight figure is White if he wins, or Ruiz. Okay? So that was his first comment. He then goes on to say, because I basically said, I explained it, he's the #1 contender and spoke about the benefits of him fighting him. He said, as I said, poorly advised or stupid is what he said. Your suggestion is on the basis that A, he wants to fight AJ. His behavior over the last 3 years has shown he doesn't. Or B, he wants the trilogy with Fury. His actions over the last 12 months show he doesn't want that fight either. So I said, okay, interesting. Do you feel that he's ready to step aside away from the sport then? Because if he's pricing himself out of Charles Martin and he doesn't really want AJ or Fury, then what's he doing in the sport? Is that what you're suggesting? And he said, I don't know. His behavior is consistent with stepping away. But he's not trying to cash out per se or pushing the mandatory route. The IBF mandatory won't come round for a while either anyway. AJ just defended it against Pulev. His best move is to fight Martin, and then White, in my opinion. His concern has never been money. He's taken easier fights for less money, and now he's all about the money. It's weird. Especially as Martin is a very winnable fight, as is White, in my opinion. So, really interesting. Oh, sorry. He also finishes with, I also don't think Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury would ever willingly fight him again unless he gets some big wins under his belt and grows. Either fan appetite or mandatory obligation. He's too messy, dangerous, and has insulted and lied on both. Very interesting take. So I want to know what you guys think, because that's made me think. really insightful take. Is this a case of Deontay Wilder not wanting to even have a shot at the big boys anymore? Is he just looking for one last big cash out fight? I mean, he's not getting any younger, but let's not lie to ourselves. This man's a danger to any heavyweight in history with the power that he's got, that he marries with that speed. He's tall and rangy with fast hands and power. So it's not just power that you're going to see coming from a mile away, you're going to step away from it. He's very good at setting that right hand up. He's proved that throughout his whole career. He's not just going to lose that overnight. So he's got a chance. Has he been that damaged mentally that he's ready to walk away and he just wants a cash out fight and Charles Martin doesn't offer that? If he is just looking for a cash out fight, you'd assume that he'd beat Martin even at this stage. So why wouldn't he take Martin and then a really big cash out fight against one of the superstars? What is he looking for exactly? If he is looking for a cash out fight, why wouldn't he fight Dillian Whyte? Pay-per-view in the UK, that'll make a lot of money, and you know it's going to make money in the US too. So what's the issue here? What's going on? If there's truth to this story. Let me know what you think, guys, both on Jamal Charlo. I've got a feeling I'm going to get wound up by one or two comments when it comes to this. I don't know why. But Jamal Charlo, but also what you think about Deontay Wilder. If there's truth to this, what is he playing at? What is he thinking? Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. God bless.